And welcome back, Upper Deckers. It's week one done, and for those at home, it's an 11-day period, and we made it through. And John Mitchell from the Upper Deckers, um, like I've said it before, I'll say it again. He claims to be the current champion, even though that was in 2019. Now, there's some COVID things going on there, and his claim might be true. Let's talk to him. Hey, John, how you doing?
Hey, bud, how's it going, man?
I'm feeling good. So what is this? It's rumored that you might be the considered the reigning Upper Deckers champ. Is that the case?
There's no rumor, it's actual. I mean, 2019 was a full season, right? 2020 was what, 60 games plus playoffs, so 80 games total? That's half a season, right? I
So
mean, the reigning 162 plus playoffs is this guy right here. I won. So I'm the reigning champ. I'm Ric Flair, baby.
Ric Flair.
I'm Ric Flair. I'm strutting all over town still.
So then I have to ask. I mean, devil's advocate. Are the Washington Nationals the reigning in championships for the MLB?
Would it be the Dodgers? The Dodgers won 2020.
But in a protracted season.
Well, yeah, no, they're not. I don't think they're the champions. Those should be Astros. To be honest, I mean, it's not the full season. It's like this, like back in 94, when it was a strike shortened year, right? They had no World Series, right? Same thing in '88, no World Series, right? So this one, of course, they wanted to get their money because they're bleeding out money left and right. So of course, let's just give the Dodgers this one chance because they got beat up by the Stros, and they're gonna cry about it. So let's just give them 2020 and call it done.
Well, if you're a Dodger fan, and 2020 is the only World Series championship that you're the world champions, if that's the only one you get, considering all the talent that they've had over these few years, the depth they've had, the pitching they've had, I mean, I'm sure they'll take it, but you gotta think that they're just as hungry for 2021 as they were in 2020.
Oh yeah, but think of it this way: what if it was the Blue Jays? What if the Blue Jays had won in 2020? Would you still take it?
I would, because the pitching isn't that good, the fielding wasn't that good. Uh, they had some bats, and
No.
but they had some relief, but honestly, it wasn't a championship caliber team. And if that was the way they were going to get it last year, then that would I would have took it. Yes, I would have.
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, I think it's a well deserved ring, but it's not the full enchilada, right? It's like the chips and queso, but you don't have the main course because it's not the 162 because like that's basically halfway point, right? Halfway point, sure, you don't win a World Series at halfway point. I mean, you
So
that's just me.
Queso's halfway point, is that the next step, dessert?
Yeah, pretty much, right?
So,
I mean, people look. I live in outside of Katy, outside of Houston. Everybody was complaining about how the trash cans, this, that, and the other. But my beloved Sox did it the year before. That's why Cora got fired. The year before that, the Yankees did it, but they didn't. Those two teams are higher market teams, right? If that would have come out, that would have been an explosion, right? Now you got the Stros who did it allegedly, right? Okay, uh, who knows? I heard trash cans, sure, but with the buzzers and all that stuff, I don't know. All I know is Altuve was a MVP candidate for the whole time before this all happened, and then after he's raking it, right? So I don't know, but you know, I think it's all blown out because of it's Astros, and who really cares about the Astros? They're out in the armpit of America, basically, But yeah, it is what it is. I will still take the 2017. I have banners in my garage where the Stros win. I will fly. I fly that flag. I still wear my Stros shirt, my old time Stros shirt. Don't matter. A dub's a dub.
Well, John, I've said it once, I said it twice, and I'm gonna keep pounding on this trash can. And you can say I'm a conspiracy theorist. You can say I'm a dumbass. You can say what you want about me. It's a free country, and God knows people have said all kinds of shit already. But there's a reason why the Astros really got a slap on the wrist for that. They lost some draft picks. They lost a little money, but if you really look at that, Major League Baseball did not. They wanted to, that little brush they brush off the home plate with? They didn't want to go no deeper than that, bro. Because if they went deeper, the sport was going to fall. Because
Yeah.
Yankees going down, Boston was going down. Everybody knows that the LA Dodgers manipulate their injured list competitively for them, unsportsmanship like.
Unsportsmanship, I would say.
Yeah, and there's obviously there's things with like holding a player back because of for develop for getting years for them and stuff to extend their arbitration, but they're really putting people down and keeping them fresh, and the injuries are really suspect. They're historically good.
Yeah. I with the whole thing, the Seattle is doing that right now. They had like 2 top prospects, and they're just keeping them down the minors because they don't want to pay the arbitration. I get it, but the thing is, fans go to see the game. They don't see the owners; they see the players. And if you're not trying to put the best talent, if you're talking about 5-6 years down the road, that's one thing. You got to pay up. I mean, that's what it comes down to now. I can't believe the contracts that people are getting now. Like $40 million for a pitcher? Are you kidding me? That's what, more than $1 million a start.
Well, it's kind of like real life right now. It's inequity. There's a higher amount of money at the top layer. The middle class is getting squeezed in Major League Baseball. And but to your point, yeah, Canelic, say it. For Seattle, Canelic. Anyways, he should have been up. He should have been up. They got busted with that business leaders meeting, and the fact that they didn't bring him up still, I think he's going to have a really strong case with arbitration. He's going to get paid, and and how ballsy for Seattle to stick to their guns after that. I mean, it seemed like a really good time to bring up Canelic. No. So you say it again. Yeah, say it one more time. Canelic. It's like I'm trying to say aluminum, and it's just all the syllables are falling on themselves. All right. I had a fantasy baseball. I had a real hard time putting lineups together this last week, 11 days. How about you?
Yeah, there was kind of, especially what happened with the Mets and the Nationals, being postponed and stuff like that. I mean, I had, Turner and Alonso. I just couldn't do anything with them. That's why I picked up Buster Posey, because he's a first base catcher, and I was just, man, I need a first baseman. It's that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of crazy. And also too, like the first 3 weeks of the season, you don't know you're still kind of feeling your lineups. You're still trying to feel it, your draft picks, seeing how they're going to play out. Some people, you want to pull that string if a rookie or a younger player is not performing well. You want to try to get the quick free agency pull, waiver claim, stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, it was kind of tough. It was, but that's baseball, right?
Yeah, we had weather. We had COVID related. I'm gonna separate the COVID from the regular injuries. We had injuries. We had injuries obviously coming out of spring, and then we had some of those cool weather injuries. We see some hamstrings and some groin, some things where the weather's cool and you get that fast break movement, and then you get an injury. And then of course even today with some disrest in Minnesota. Wins. So a lot of different ways games are being postponed, delayed, and what I wanted to say is we stop our regular season a little early because it gets so hard to manage in September with the call-ups and with teams being out of it. And I kind of wonder why we don't skip like the first 2 weeks of the season and let baseball kind of get itself together, because like the first 2 weeks really
Yeah.
like it's a real bad learning curve for not only the media, for fantasy managers, but for teams themselves and players.
Yeah, I mean, if you started the draft later, like say 2 weeks into the season, what players would be picked higher because they're having a good first 2 weeks, and where would you pick up those solid players like Nelson Cruz, for example? Like you kept Nelson Cruz on your team, like that guy has been breaking. He would have probably been picked higher. I mean, I know you kept him, but if you didn't, he would have picked somebody picked higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, I I'm not kind of like that idea as well, but also too with like the tail end of the season, if you have the good teams that are not playing anymore, they're going to miss a start, because they're getting ready for the playoffs, or miss a couple ABs here and there, um, but yeah, like for the start of the season for me, it's like Mookie Betts, like he got hurt, he's now hurt, but the first 3 games he sat the bench 2 games back to back. I'm like, there's no hurt, he's not hurt, he's not whatever, he did always just give him rest. Well, this is game 3, what about game 60, 65, 80, maybe then, but this is game 3, so that kind of sucks too, because especially when they're late games and you already set your lineup for the day and you just, I go to bed, okay, he's gonna play, you sure he's not, so yeah.
Yeah, I remember the third game or the second game for Houston in Oakland, and they sat Bregman already, and
Yeah.
like, well, we want to, and I'm like, well, shit. It was, I think it was the second game, but it might have been the third game of the season, and they already sat Bregman, and so yeah, that's it makes you wonder if there's a little something there or not. Who's got Tatis in our league? That would be Andy.
Andy, yeah,
I
that's a tough break.
haven't seen. It's on my radar. I have the MLB TV, and I just forget to go watch it. But then part of me kind of doesn't want to see that, because I've had that issue in the past with my shoulder where it comes out like that, and I know how it feels, and so kind of me doesn't want to see it. Did you see that?
I saw the replay of it. Yeah, it looked nasty. Like I tore my rotator cuff. Gosh, I was in college, and it sucked. And I wasn't like, I wasn't a well-formed athlete, but it took me months to recover. And I still have a little hitch in my giddy up, with my shoulder. But supposedly he had that back in March, and last year, like, they didn't want to give him the surgery, but he signed that huge contract this season too, 10 years, right? I
Yeah.
mean, if I was the Padres, I'd be like, okay, you've had issues with your shoulder in the past. We're going to give you all this money. Uh, have the surgery. I would have the surgery and be done with it, But
Yeah.
I'm not the Padres, so.
And I think they're thinking that they have a window to compete this year, and you bring him back in 6 to 8 weeks, maybe even 12 weeks, and if they're in contention, they have a shot. And as soon as they're out of the playoffs, you shut him down, and he goes under the knife. So
Yeah.
and it's I think it's a situation where it hurts like hell when it happens. And yeah, you're messing it up slightly each time it comes out, but it's not like, and I'm not a doctor, and I don't even play one on on TV. So
But I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, so.
there we go. There we go. There's the first ad. Let's get some money for that. Hopefully them in the budget for us. They could give us tickets to Holiday Expresses or vouchers for
Voucher, there you go. Yeah.
games. And got to market games. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. He just got the money, and I can't. But when you talked about 40 million for a pitcher, and you're talking about a year, for like a big time pitcher for like a year, right? I remember when Barry Zito went to the Giants, and I was playing a show that night with my friend Bobby and Scott, and we were over it's not the Mile High Club. What's that little coffee it's like freaking so tiny. But I picked up a paper because there's time. And once you set up
Mhm.
time, and the Barry Zito contract was on the front page. And I liked Barry Zito back in the time,
Mhm.
back in the day. But I was so livid. I was like, how are you going to give a pitcher this much money, this many years? And then it turns out he was playing with his delivery. He was like, he just got this contract and he was
No.
not going to bring the Oakland delivery. He was working on a new delivery. And then of course, you know, he did help out with some World Series stuff. At some point he was a fan favorite, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Barry
Mhm.
Bonds was leaving and you had a new Barry. I don't know how the box office works. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Maybe that's a
Yeah.
consideration sometimes. But I remember being so mad. And then of course when I heard he's working with his delivery, I was mad. And then I remember him getting hurt and I was mad. And it wasn't even my money.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Whenever you hear somebody say "we" as the team that they're talking about, well, we're going to win the championship, we're doing great. Like you ain't on the field, bro.
Um,
Yes, your money pays for the salary, but you ain't on the field. I totally hear you. I'm the same way. When it's just ridiculous.
I'm
But
gonna get
that shows the love and passion you have. You know what I mean? That's where it is. Truly. I
right.
mean,
I'm gonna go work the parking lot so I can be part of the team. Yeah, there you go. And then
yeah,
I can get my ring, my
there
little
you go.
plastic one.
Yeah, we're giving those away. The Astros game opening day 18 after they won the series,
Yeah.
and man, that thing was huge. People were like lining up for days to get because I think they only made like 15,000, the first 15,000, and man, like on eBay, you see that price for that thing, man, you're paying big bucks for a fake ring.
What way you got to talk 150?
Oh man, it's probably 400 or 500 bucks.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm off
yeah.
by like 3 to 4 fold. Oh my goodness. Oh wow, for a plastic ring.
It was a replica. It looked like what the Stros got for their World Series, but yeah.
Wow, wow, okay. Um. So, what have we been working on in the league lately? We've been working on whether we wanted to add a NA spot, and then you also mentioned adding more IL spots. And I'm in a few leagues, and I'm in a spot where I was not risk averse. I took a lot of pitchers who are going to come up and should have excellent years, but started on the DL. And then when you add that with the COVIDs and the
Mhm,
injuries, I am hurting for spots, and I
mhm.
kind of feel what you're saying with
Yeah.
extending the IL. And I said DL like I'm like 10 years ago. Um, uh, but uh, but you know, I have fantasized about the NA spot for so long, and we had a little vote. It did not pass. Uh, so, but I just dream about having this little superstar months away, and I put him down there, and he's like a little garden, he's like a little flower, and I plant him in my NA spot, and I keep him safe and water him, and I let him get sun. And then what happens is he comes up, there's hella height. I put him on the roster, and he sucks balls, and of course, nothing. And then I dropped a serviceable veteran who wasn't sexy, but was gonna win me the league.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I totally get what you're saying with the NL spots, AL spot or NA spots. Sorry, but it's like back in the day, we all had to stash. Like I stashed Harper. I stashed Yasiel Puig. For months, and I needed those spots. I guess if we like talk more about like how the detail would be for that, like would you keep them AL player or NL player, NA player for how long? Do you keep them for just that year? Do you have them for a couple months or I mean a couple years, like a keeper kind of thing? Um, but I think that would my point of it is that it would probably dilute the waiver wire pool. You know what I mean? Um, but I mean to each his own. I mean I totally get I totally get where you're coming from. As far as the IL spots, man, I mean, you can't have enough, especially with this whole COVID thing. The start of the season, we started with COVID, I could have
Really,
totally put those guys in there, picked up a few extra players, but you know, that's me because it seems like for every year, or not, except for 2019 when I won, every year for the past 3-4 years, I had at least 5 to 6 guys on the DL, and it was just I was good, and I could only stack so many, and I would just sit them on my bench, even though they're hurt. So to me, more AL spots or IL spots, the better for me. But like I said, I do want to open more into a NA spots. I mean, like why is it that you already explained it a little bit, but like your feeling of the AL or NA, sorry, spot, like do you think it would be a benefit long term, or is it just like a short term rental kind of thing?
well, I mean, it really depends on how the league goes forward. How it was written, it would just be a spot because it really wasn't well written. I mean, and that's really on me. I really just got really like, oh, let's do it. Let's have fun with it. Let's just do it. And so as an administrator, as a commissioner, really dropped the ball on there. I didn't go full Bill Clinton. The explainer. I just you know, I think as it was written or as it was poorly written, you have this player, he's in if he makes your team, gets off that spot, but it wouldn't have been like a keep over unless you were willing to keep him, you know what I'm saying? Unless you were willing to make a
Mhm.
keeper. But that wasn't expressed in any way. And I could totally see how that would have been an issue. Uh, and Sometimes when I try to get policy together, and it just gets stuck in this little loop in my head. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it wasn't true. I wish I could say that I was like in 75 percentile for intelligence. You know what I'm saying? I would be very happy with that number.
Yeah.
But, I think I'm just dog paddling there, buddy. So
I'm in the same boat as you, sir. But you know what? We're both good looking guys, so we make up for it, right?
well, gotta have something.
You gotta have something, right?
And then
Something going for you.
Red Green says if they don't find you handsome, they should find you handy.
There you go. There you go. Right.
Yeah. Um. So any big upsets? Anything big from the first week there? How did you feel? I believe you came across with you came across with an L, right? No, you're the only old school guy who came across with a W this week.
Yeah, yeah. It looks like, and it was at the beginning because, like I said, I was dealing with people not playing. The Mets and Washington wasn't playing. I had a couple guys from that squad, but I ended up pulling out, man. Like the O'Shea Otani, man, that dude as a bat. Oh my goodness, I was kind of missed. See, again in the draft, it seems like I love that Mike's back. The
Yeah.
heart is great, love him to death. But that dude keeps sniping my picks every time, every time. I probably had 3 players, I mean, in my queue, ready to go, snipe. Just like, oh, it just drives me crazy. But that's good. I love Mike back. But yeah, it's just, you know, Shohei Otani just really, really lit it up for me this week. So I can't complain. I can't complain. But yeah.
I got sniped this many times because I started the draft 2 rounds later than everybody else, and I was just taking what you guys were leaving on the bone.
Now, did you think did you think that was looking back at it, 2020, hindsight being 2020, would you have kept 5? Because I think you were the only one that kept 5, right?
I kept 5. I did complain to Peter jokingly, but no, because it's like there is some talent involved in this, and you can homework your way through a lot of it. But I don't, only I think only the most conceited person would not admit to some amount of luck in the game.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when you go through your rosters, and I do this every year, I see what I started with, what I ended up with, where I got my value from, and often, I mean, and I don't know about you guys, but you know, I draft like 40% of my team well, and that core is going to go, but there's a 60% that's going to be replaced. And so
Mhm.
to me, it's like, these guys, they could have their upcoming year. A lot of them are, their contracts are going away anyways.
Mhm.
Why not take a chance? Why not see? And I also will experiment sometimes in leagues. Typically not this league because but this year I was like, let's see what happens. Let's see if standing pat is better than me guessing new. Because a lot of times I feel like you'll give away something good, and then so we'll see. I don't know. It was just
Yeah.
and
Like for me, like the reason why I kept three is I figured, okay, like I could probably upgrade the two players that I gave back. Like I gave back Gleyber Torres and Blackman. So I figured at least with those two guys, a shortstop slash second base, with the dual position player, which is coveted. I mean, those are guys that are nice to have. But I figured I could upgrade there. And so luckily, I upgraded with Turner, and then my second pick was Springer, but he's hurt now. But still, I think Springer is a much better upgrade than Blackman would. And I think Turner is about par with Glaber, because Glaber will get you more home runs, but Turner will get you more stolen bases. That's what I felt. But I did like the fact that you did keep a couple of those guys, because like Cruz is a solid player. Like I was looking through where you would have picked. I mean, if you were into Springer, you probably could have got Springer there, but whatever. But still, like keeping Cruz as your fifth keeper, yeah, it's not too bad. Like you think about it, it's not like it's a first pick. When you start your first pick, it's technically the sixth pick, right? So it's all these people would have already been gone. You wouldn't be getting a Cole. Well, actually, Joe got Cole, but I mean, you wouldn't be like these super studs like Trout or whatever. I had a sixth round pick on a regular draft. No way he'd be picked 2 or 3. Whatever. So, I mean, I was just curious because I did like if I was in a better position, I probably would have kept Glaber and Blackman. But seeing everybody else and who they were already giving up, to where basically the third round became, or the fourth round became the first round, is kind of try to upgrade a little bit. But
yeah, I thought
like I'm sorry, but like for Andy's team, you look at that lineup. My God, like the fact that he still got Vladimir
mhm.
back in the seventh or eighth round, or no, seventh round, something like that, eighth round. But like he has a stacked lineup. I wouldn't have given up any of that. I was just keeping them all 5. But the fact that he let him drop, but then he was able to pick him up, which was another snipe, because I was like had him in my queue, but for some reason I love Calvin Biggio because Craig's son. I love Biggio. I thought, okay, this is the year. And he hasn't been doing squat for me yet. So hey, if you want a Blue Jay, I got a Blue Jay for you.
Well, I got to make sure I'm not overextended with any one team, especially with COVID. Because if
Sure. Yeah.
COVID outbreak with one team, this year, is the probably one of the worst years to do a stack of a team with a good offense if there's a COVID outbreak, because then you're
Yeah.
really struggling. And
Yeah.
and but yeah, but you're right, Andy. He's been doing great for years. I mean,
Yes.
necessarily show off in the win-loss column as much as you'd hope, but he built that so pristinely.
Oh yeah.
I thought I was going to go up against him 5-5, and he didn't. And Ben, I think, was the only guy that kept more than 3, and me, I think. But
Well,
also,
it's only week 1. I mean, you can't be down your squad yet. I mean, it's nice to win. It's nice to start to win the first couple weeks. But it's not like fantasy football where that first week is like a death. You have to get it, or you're just gonna hole. Like for example, last was it 2019 when I won the championship. By the way, with the point system there, I was doing a little research, and if by week or by midweek by All-Star break, if you were more than 15 points down, there was no way you're catching up. No way you're catching up. And remember, the top 16, they kept fluctuating because they were close. They were within that 15 points. But if you were not, you were done. And I felt like I kind of just changed back toward the win loss one. Yeah, it's kind of maybe it'll be old school or not as flashy with all the big points and numbers and stuff, but I think it keeps people more interested. If you're only 1 or 2 wins down, you're able to, claw back in. But if like, for example, like this week, if you were, what was the score for last week? Like there wasn't really anybody who got trounced, but like I mean, you were 8-3, right? But then Bayou, that was a 10-2 over Thunder Road.
My ass. The Assassins handed me my ass.
Yeah, I mean, but a 10-2, the Bayou beat Thunder Road 10-2. Like, and so if you would project that out, the next weeks, Thunder Road would have to get at least a 10 spot the next 2 weeks, and Bayou has to be no better than 7 for him to catch it to make ground. So that was but I was glad that other people realized that, even though, yes, I did win in 2019, I still thought we should go back to the win-loss.
I think
Somehow we got to get rid of that tie. I don't like the tie. Maybe we could make it where like hits, whoever has the most hits in the week gets the tiebreaker. Because, man, this tie thing, this is not hockey. We're not playing hockey. We're not playing soccer. We're playing baseball.
Yeah, but every time we make an adjustment so there's less likely to have a tie, we find a new way to make a tie.
Yeah, that's true.
Like we'll tie their batting average, and then everything else will be tied. And then so even though we had an odd number or an even number or whatever, we end up it's I don't know, it's weird. It's like we always find a way to numerically do something that seems improbable.
I blame Joe. That's pretty much my fallback. Anything that goes wrong, it's just fault.
Oh, he's got zero input. He's barely hanging on. You can't blame nothing right now. All you could do is.
I'm sorry. It's Dr. Joe. My apologies, Dr. Joe.
Dr. Joe is doing us a solid by hanging in the league, honestly, at this point. So, Joe, Dr. Sir.
Dr. Sir. Yeah, that's right.
Namaste. Oh man. So we had a little prep talk, and you told me you liked the channel, and then we got talking about baseball cards, but even more than that, signatures. And you reminded me of one of the greatest things growing up, and that was hanging out at the Astrodome before games and getting signatures and interacting with these guys and it just being awesome.
Yeah. Back in the Dome days, man, like I was in high school, it's probably 92, 93, something like that. I mean, I would go to ball games all the time. And a lot of people would go to the Astros side, because that's the Astros, but I would go to the visitor side because that was, get to see Barry Bonds and, Mike Williams and all that stuff. And so even at the end of the game, people would come into the parking lot, the little square dugout hole where they park their car, Bentleys and stuff like that at the time, whatever. I'd go to the other side, the west side of the stadium where the bus would be for the Disney players. And man, like I said, like when I checked out your channel, man, I was like, throwback, man, I got to find my cards. And I probably had 400 or 500 autographs from different players. I mean, just you think of it, I have it. Chipper Jones, Paul Molitor, all these guys. It's pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I missed out on the visitor side. We used to always go to the Astros parking lot. In fact, I kind of got in an argument with Denny Walling once because I leaned. So back then it would have been a Z28, I believe. Z28. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a Z28. No, wait, no, not Z. No, I'm thinking,
IROC?
No. I got the wrong. Sorry, apologies. It was the Datsun, which becomes a Nissan. It was the 280Z.
Oh, 280Z. Yeah.
280Z. Sorry. And I remember leaning on his car, and he was not very happy with me. Now I understand now what I did. It was rude, and
yeah.
I didn't understand at that age. And I don't remember if he signed for me. I feel like he did, but I think that maybe he gave me a look when he did.
Well, you remember the Coca-Cola buddies, right? Remember that?
Nah, I don't remember.
Never did that. Like we did that growing up, and we got to go in the field, and I got like Billy Doran's autograph and Mike Scott, and they had little pitching clinics and fielding clinics and stuff like that. I mean, for $12, man, that was pretty awesome
That sounds pretty tight.
back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should pull those out. I should pull them all out and show them off one time. I was just stunned of how many I had. I didn't remember, who I had and what I had. I have a bunch. Mike Maddox. I got Greg Maddox, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz. I mean, I had a bunch of Braves because I really loved the Braves back then because they were always going to the World Series. But yeah,
I didn't like the Braves because they traveled well and they took over the Astros.
yeah, they
I,
did. And Cubs and the Cubs.
yeah, I was kind of like, whose house is this? Because it did not seem like our house when Atlanta came down.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
I remember we used to get tickets to the Expos a lot through my mom's work, and I think it was because that was always an empty stadium for the Expos.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And I'm like, why do we always just do the Expos? Oh, man. And now they're gone or changed their name.
I hope MLB expands, and I hope Montreal gets their team back. It's been a while, but you can't have Toronto be the only Canadian team.
Well, maybe Vancouver. But I don't. Does Montreal care about baseball?
I don't know. I mean, when they left, yeah, there was a big. You always see all these people filing with the big signs, "Don't take them away." Kind of like what happened with the Colts and stuff like that in Baltimore. But I don't know. I mean, I did actually get to go to a couple of those games when they were in Montreal when I was when you got to go with following the shows during the summer. We did that. And that was pretty cool. That was a dump of a stadium though. It really was. But it was a dome. Wasn't really too much to look at either. So.
I like all the stories about the feral cats, but apparently you needed them all to keep it.
Well, no, like what was it? Maybe 5 years ago, right? They took a tour of the old dome, right? And literally, like the press box, it was like a time capsule. Like there was still coffee cups, and the computers were still on with like the blinking green light, in the corner. And when they stepped on the AstroTurf, it was all squishy because
Yeah.
of all the urine and the ceiling's leaking too. But yeah, they were talking about like rats. I mean, huge rats and a lot of feral cats. But yeah, it was pretty sad. It was pretty sad.
The rats are so big, the cats are like, no, we're not even messing
Nah,
with that.
we're good. We're good. I'm not that hungry. No.
Coexist. We'll go to different food sources. All right, man. I'm really excited to have you on. Is there anything particularly you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I mean, I really enjoy your channel. Like I said, when I didn't know about it until you said something about it. The what?
So I forced it upon the league. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I totally enjoy it. I like that's like to me. I never like I said I put those cards and baseball cards back in my mind, but man, it's like it brings back nostalgia. It brings you back to where you were a kid again, popping those packs and your favorite player. But now the cards now are so shiny and glitzy and look amazing. I'm like, wow. But yeah.
You happened to see my O-Pee-Chee Premier 91 opening?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so devastating. Every one of those cards were so messed up. I never saw
Really
so bad. And this brings me to a pet peeve, is that even today, centering can be bad, cuts are bad. I got a Kirby Yates signature card last year, and it had the same crimp on it as the edge of the package. So it had got and
can you take it back? Can you ask them to send you a new one?
in a timely manner?
Yeah.
It is Topps will do. You do need a couple things. So if you're out there and you end up with like a limited card, a numbered card, a patch card, an autograph, and you do have this kind of issue, Topps does have a redemption replacement thing. You'll likely need a receipt, the box or the packaging, and if you go to a local card shop, they will be able to provide that again afterwards, because the cards, all the boxes are numbered, everything's like serialed, so they can help you. And my guy was like, oh, I can reprint you a receipt because I know exactly, it's really
Mhm.
for them. Everything is so highly controlled that it's really easy for them to know where it came from again, and so that your guy can get that. So if you guys have that problem out there, that's, that'll work. It was a Kirby Yates. It was a paper card. It was from opening day. So I let it go. But I did, we did do some redemptions for cards that weren't in there. The redemption cards. We did a redemption for last year. We did a redemption for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And it was for his signature from his rookie. Rookie. What was the? Oh, it was from opening day. From opening day 2019, because we were chasing the Fernando Tatis rookie short print. There's a short print in that.
Oh,
And
okay.
I've got like, I think 150, which isn't a lot. Okay, I understand, but these are paper cards. These are cheap set. I do collect cheap sets because they're affordable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're chasing that short print, and we got the Rookie Republic. That's it. Rookie Republic. It is paper, but it is signed on card, and it was the only Rookie Republic from that year that was signed on card. All the others were stickers. I don't mind stickers, obviously.
But the sticker has the legit autograph, right?
It's just they did. It's just the Star did not handle the card itself. They handled
And then it was signed. I got you.
on the stickers. So there's a little bit, but if I had my choice between no autograph and a sticker autograph, I'm taking the sticker. I am.
Hey, autograph's autograph, right? I mean,
But this is one where the Star, in this case Vladimir Guerrero Jr., signed on card, and it's beautiful. And then of course
pretty cool.
we did a AJ Puck last year as well. And the other thing is, this is just for the channel people, when you buy one of these older sets, that was a 2019 set, that card expires, that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. expires, I think April or May of this year. So you only have a window on these. So if you're buying one of these older boxes and there's a potential for a redemption card in there, you do want to be aware of where you're at in that cycle. It's typically 2 years. And so if you're getting really close or you're past the year, then if you're past the year, then you know that you're not going, if you pull a redemption, you're not going to be able to redeem it. Mm-hmm. And then I believe those are what becomes part of the buyback. Topps, I think it's really kind of weird. I think they buy back from themselves. And then they put it in the archives, and they're like, it's a buyback archive. And it's like, a card that you didn't give away, but they bought it for themselves. And did you hear about the evaluation for Topps going public?
No, I didn't. What happened? What's up?
Like 1.2 billion, I think, is the initial that they're going to get for this. But it's because, well, it's obviously there's a spike in the industry right now. Mm-hmm. But it's also based on the promise that they're going to start doing NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which.
So the token is like a virtual or a digital thing, or what?
Digital asset, yes.
Which you don't have it in your hands; it's just on your computer.
On your computer, yeah. It's a blockchain.
What is it? Bitcoin of Topps now, or something? Is that what it is?
It's non-fungible. So there's only in theory there's only one, but then they can do like 10,000 of the one. But it's only it's limited. But it's a really weird situation for collectibles because you have a receipt for a collectible that you don't actually have. You can view it, but other people can go view it too, like on the marketplace, and then my concern is that blockchains are actually very energy heavy to produce them. So I'm kind of skeptical, and I hope this isn't the beginning of the end for Tops. Um, but I mean, they've been on the ropes before, so maybe this is the best thing.
Like 2 or 3 times before that, right?
Yeah, they've had some issues, and they've kept it going, and sometimes I don't know how they kept it going.
That's interesting because like I never really heard about that until recently. Yeah, but I mean, but a lot of cards are going like that, like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, all this stuff. Like they're all going digital because, especially with the pandemic, nobody can go to a place to pick up. Like ever since I saw your channel of baseball cards, I thought, oh man, I'll go pick up a box or hobby box or whatever. And you can't find them anywhere. In Target or Walmart, they're just gone. Like people bought them up, or they haven't come in because of the pandemic or something like that. But I see a lot of companies doing that as well, and it's very interesting to me. Like because that's the whole point of collecting cards is to have it, is to see it, hold it in your hand, Or if you wanted to go send it off to go get it in plated, with the PSA, but now that's taken for a year and a half. But I think that's why they shut down is because so many people have been sending that stuff in. But yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and then you bring up a great point. So Targets, Walmarts, all the retail locations, um, the pandemic really gave people uh, time to consider old hobbies, old interests,
Yeah.
and demand far outweighed supply. Uh, there was a big flipping economy that came up out of that, and then the places to get consistent cards, your local card shop, uh, and uh, and then there are some online places like Steel City. I think there's this place that does shoes. Oh, Stock X, I believe. They treat shoes like stocks, and they certify them, but they started certifying uh, cases and hobby boxes as well. I believe it's Stock X. There are some other places if you're going to buy online. And I learned this the hard way, and even through my own sales, is that you want to sell complete, individually wrapped hobby boxes, or you don't want to sell individual packs because you're going to get stuck with them if you're selling them, and if you're buying them, they're likely to be sorted either by weight or by fill, and so that means someone's molesting your pack or they're weighing your pack, and so you really want to be careful of that. So that's why I think breaks are so that's it took me a while to understand breaks, but breaks is that not only are you getting in for cheaper than it is for that hobby box, you're watching it being open. It
Mhm.
should be unedited. It should be straight. If there's any mistakes, any curses, they should be there because you want to see the whole process play out. And
Mhm.
then that somebody didn't weigh the pack and not slip it in there, that you had access to all those. And then you're going to see the hits. And even if you didn't get the hit, you know that those hits were given out. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we went like fantasy baseball and baseball cards, which was great. And then it gave me a chance to reiterate some of these things. And PSA is a mess right now. You're right; it's so backed up. But
Would there be any other grading systems that you might go to if you can't get in with PSA? Because I know like Beckett's still around, still somewhat high, but there's some other smaller branch companies that are still doing it.
yeah, and I don't have them. I did do a video on them, and they're not on the top of my head, but there are. And the thing to know is that the grading systems differ a little bit. So make sure you go in and research how the grading system is, because some of them will have a 10 and some of them have a 10 plus. Um, and also now, I don't know if you're aware, but there's also a tendency to grade the card and the autograph if there's an autograph on it. And so you
Oh
could
wow.
a high grade on your card and then get a poor grade on your autograph. And obviously, this is even more subjective than grading cards, because the grading cards, they do have some guidelines, and you're allowed to have like a soft corner if everything else is like centered and everything. Then you can have just the touch of a soft corner, and you can still get like a 9.5 or even a 10 if it's everything else is perfect. Like there's guidelines, but when it comes to the signatures, I think that's a lot more subjective.
Mm.
And And that's really, I think, in the case if you're really trying to buy a house later in your life. You want that 10-10. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
from a collector standpoint, it might not be as important if you just really want that autograph.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of my autographs, I realize, like, I try to keep care of them. But back, you're talking 25, 30 years ago. So it's like, yeah, they get kind of nicked up. But just the fact that I saw them again just brought back the memory
Yeah.
of, oh yeah, when I got to meet the player. Because that's the thing, like with the autograph, that means you met the player. Like I would go to Texans training camps all the time. I got J.J. Watts, I got all these guys, but I got to meet them. So I never get rid of those cards because it's like, no, I can't. That's where I got to meet the person. But yeah.
I got so many Craig Biggio autographs out there with soft corners because I kept touching them because
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, Craig Biggio. Oh man. So I think this has been a pleasure. I think we got a good amount of content here. And let's see, who are you matching up with this week?
Let's see. I think I got Thunder Road. Yeah, I got Thunder Road this week. So.
All right. So that is
And
that's probably going to be a tough matchup.
I think so.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys to talk baseball to, and he moved out of the Bay Area. He moved out of California, and I miss Josh. And he is reaping the rewards right now from his trade from earlier at the beginning of the season.
I saw that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, and yeah,
that's his player. He's got the jersey and everything, and I feel like an ass because I am spacing on the player.
He just was Baxton. He picked up Baxton.
Buxton.
Yeah. Buxton, yeah.
Yeah, Buxton. Yeah. And of course his brother got Castellanos in the trade, who had a couple of good days, but then I think he might have had
some. He got suspended or something, right? Or about to be suspended because they got in a fight or something like that.
Oh, yeah, great! He got in the pitcher's face. That was some good, clean baseball. I like that. I enjoyed. I didn't think it was that bad. But
it's like the bat flip. People get. Who was it? What is his name? The guy from the Jays who bat flipped in the playoffs and they all got offended by it.
Was it? Was it Hernandez?
I was like Batista.
Oh, you mean back in the day? Yeah, Batista. Yeah. Yeah, you're not talking about last.
No. This was a couple of years ago when the Jays were good.
That was Jose Batista right there. Yeah, and it's not a bad team to fall back on. They do have some lineage there. So, although I have to explain constantly that I'm not from Canada, and then people think I'm going to have this great story why I'm a Jays fan, and I'm like, well, there's a lot of connections to Houston in the Jays, and then they're like, I don't know. Sports fandom is so effing arbitrary, anyways. You know what I'm saying?
It's fickle. It's whatever you like. Like the reason why I like their socks is because I did go for summers up there with my uncle that lived up that way and my cousin. And for summers I'd go to Fenway Park and just seeing that stadium just like was put me in awe. And ever since then, ever I was a teenager, I just always followed them, good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a team with a storied tradition, more tradition than rings, but they made up for it in recent years, right?
Yeah.
All right, John, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. And do you know what we do when something's not broke?
We need to break it, right?
You break it, yes, sir. Thanks to John Mitchell for joining us. We'll see you next time on Ruby Breaks Baseball.
Thank you, sir.